Well, those are just some of the reactions from the thousands who watched last night's world premiere of Michael Bay's upcoming film, 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. And as you just heard, the movie not only packs a powerful emotional punch, it left some folks asking new questions about the terror attack in Libya and how Secretary Clinton handled it. Some of the families of those who died in the attack say Mrs. Clinton told them when the bodies were returned home over the caskets that a protest in Benghazi and a video were to blame. We now know that was not the case. In a moment, we will hear directly from those families, and we will ask them about Secretary Clinton's suggestion that they are not telling the truth about what happened at Dover Air Force Base. But first, Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry gets us up to date on the controversy. Ed?
Good evening, Megan. This really cuts right to the heart of the question of why Hillary Clinton is struggling on whether she's honest and trustworthy with voters. Just within days of the Benghazi terror attack, she and the president, as you noted, went to Andrews Air Force Base to meet with the families of the 4 victims. And some family members have publicly said that on that grim day, Hillary Clinton told them the attacks were sparked by a video. Charles Woods, whose son Ty was killed in Benghazi, said he actually wrote down in a notebook verbatim as she spoke. He quotes her as saying, "We are going to have the filmmaker arrested who was responsible for the death of your son." First of all, that's different from what Clinton told her daughter Chelsea and at least one diplomat. This looked like an al-Qaeda terror attack. That's different than what she told the families. It also became a flashpoint, this difference in her story, in last October's Benghazi hearing in the House when she was challenged on these conflicting accounts. Listen.
You had a conversation with the Egyptian Prime Minister. You told him this: "We know the attack in Libya had nothing to do with the film. It was a planned attack, not a protest."
Well, Congressman, there was a lot of conflicting information that we were trying to make sense of.
And despite Charles Woods saying he wrote down verbatim what Clinton said on 2 occasions recently, she has now suggested the families are not remembering this correctly. She first said that on ABC News with George Stephanopoulos. Listen to this exchange.
Did you tell them about the film, and what's your response?
No, I said very clearly, there had been a terrorist group that had taken responsibility on Facebook. This was a fast-moving series of events in the fog of war.
Then she did an editorial board meeting with the Daily Sun. That's a newspaper in rural New Hampshire. She said that the family's grief may have clouded their memories, saying she can't recall the details when people were sobbing in front of her at Andrews. She was pressed by a columnist for that newspaper who said, "Look, somebody is lying here. Who is it?" Clinton replied, "Not me. That's all I can tell you." Megan?
Ed, thank you. As Ed mentioned, Tyrone Woods' father isn't the only relative to claim Hillary Clinton blamed that video for their son's death. And while we will hear from Woods, his son, and the mother of another victim in a moment, the fact that 3 different families have come forward with the very same story does not exactly support Mrs. Clinton's claim that all 3 are getting their facts wrong.
You know, when I think back now to that day and what she knew, you know, it shows me a lot about her character, that she would choose in that moment to basically perpetuate what she knew was untrue.
That's the sister of Glenn Doherty, who was killed in that attack. Patricia Smith is the mother of Sean Smith, who was killed in that attack. And we are also joined by Charles Woods, the father of Tyrone Woods, who was killed in that attack, along with Tyrone's brother, Jeremiah. Thank you all so much for being here with me tonight. Pat, I'll get to you in one moment. I'll start with Charles and Jeremiah. First, I know you were all at the premiere last night. Your reaction to it, Charles?
Well, from the very beginning, I felt like probably anyone else that lost a loved one. You want to be there at the moment that they die. You want to be at their side. You want to know what they were going through. And I had always wanted to talk with one of the men that was with Ty. I was able to do that both before and after the premiere. And I really wasn't ready for what I saw on the screen. I'd read the book. I thought I was prepared. But when I actually saw my son's life being taken from him, it was very emotional. The entire family, there was 4 of us there. We were all in tears. We were hugging each other, sobbing. It was almost like I didn't want to be there, but I'm glad that I had the experience. It did add to the
healing process.
Yeah, the healing process, the closure, and it was positive, but very powerful, because this is what really happened. You know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that have gone out from both the left side and the right side, but these men that were with Ty, they were telling the truth. This is what actually happened.
Make no mistake about it, when you see the movie 13 Hours, you will see that Tyrone Woods emerges as an incredible hero who rallied those men and did everything in his power to try to override the orders they were being given to stand down and not go help the ambassador at the consulate. But they went. They just went too late because they were told not to. And finally, you'll see in the movie what he did.